Welcome back. We're continuing our review unit, and today we're going to talk about graphing linear functions in different forms. I'm going to start with slope-intercept form. First thing we want to do is whatever they give us, we want to make sure it is in slope-intercept form. Remember, slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. We may have to solve for y to be alone. Our steps to do that, if we need to, are to first add or subtract the x value to the other side, and then divide by the number with y to everything. And those are just the two steps in the order you'd want to do them. You don't always have to do both steps. Sometimes you just need to do one or the other. The y-intercept then is going to be your b value. Your slope is the m. Once we've done that, we can use a ruler. So make sure you have a ruler with you. Pause the video if you need to get one to draw a line through the graph with arrows at each end. Looking at this very first example, we have 2/3 x minus 5. Remember, f of x is saying, hi, I'm a function, but this is really also y equals 2/3 x minus 5. Our y-intercept, or our b, is -5 because of the minus with it. And then our slope is positive 2/3. So we'll start at -5 and plot that. From that -5, it's a positive 2 and a positive 3. So we're rising 2, running 3, plot a point. Rising 2, running 3, plot a point. You want at least a good 3 or 4 of these to make sure that we've got a good feel for the graph, because remember, we're going to start changing our graphs later on. And then use your straight edge and make sure there are arrows at both ends. And here is our linear graph. Skipping over to letter C, here's an example of when we don't have y equals mx plus b. We need to take this out of point slope form. We start with distributing that -1/2. So we have y minus 1, -1/2 times x is -1/2 x. Half of 4 is 2, and a negative times a negative is a positive. So -1/2 x plus 2. And then we finish getting y alone by adding 1 to the other side. Y, that adds to 0, is equal to -1/2 x plus 3. So our b, or our y-intercept, is positive 3 because of the plus 3 here. And then our slope is -1/2. Now, it doesn't matter if our negative goes with the 1 or with the 2. Starting with plotting our y-intercept at positive 3. If we make the 1 negative, that means rather than going up, we're going down 1. And the positive 2 means we're going right 2. Down 1, right 2. If you're associating that negative with the 2, then with the 1 being positive, that means you're going up 1 and then left for the -2 here. You can see that it still falls in line with our graph. And again, taking a straight edge, drawing our line, putting arrows at the end of both. Letter D. For letter D, y is absolutely not by itself. So I'm going to take those steps that we wrote on our notes. And the first step says to take the x and move it to the other side. This is a positive 3x. I'm going to subtract 3x to the other side. 3x minus 3x is 0. Please don't forget that negative in front of the 5. Y. And then we cannot subtract 3x from 15, so they're just going to sit next to each other. And it honestly doesn't matter if you put the 3x after the 15 or before the 15. It's just whatever you're comfortable with. From there, our next step was to divide by whatever is with y. With y is a -5. I'm going to divide everything by -5 here. And that gives us a positive 1y. -15 over -5 is a positive 3. Then a negative over a negative is a positive, and we can't divide 3 by 5 or reduce 3 over 5, so we're leaving that as 3/5 x. Remember, whatever value is touching x is our slope. So our slope is positive 3/5, and our y-intercept is positive 3. So I'm going to go ahead and start with our y-intercept at positive 3. Then we go up 3, right 5. Up 3, right 5. If we went with the -3, -5, going back to my y-intercept of 3, then we would go down 3 and left 5 for the negative. You can see that it still falls in line with our other points. And so there is our linear graph with our arrows at the end. On the back side, talking about graphing in standard form. So standard form, ax plus by equals c. A, b, and c are just numbers. They can be any number you want that are real numbers. Another way we can graph these, plot the x-intercept. Plug 0 in for y and solve for x. To get the y-intercept, you plug 0 in for x and solve for y. Then you would connect those 2 points. Remember, you can also put into slope intercept form if you'd rather do that. But we're going to try a couple of these just so you can see what that looks like. All right, so for our x-intercept, we plug 0 in for y. That's 4x minus 2 times 0 is equal to 6. 2 times 0 is 0. 4x minus 0 is just 4x. Divide both sides by 4, and we get our x-intercept. Remember, we want to leave that in fraction form, but we want to reduce it. So that'll be positive 3/2. So 3/2 0 is 1.5, and it's going to be about right here. For our y-intercept, we are plugging 0 in for x. 4 times 0 minus 2y is equal to 6. 4 times 0 is 0. 0 minus 2y is negative 2y. Divide by negative 2 on both sides, and we get y is equal to negative 3. And that is right here on our y-axis. And so we'll take a ruler and do our best job of connecting those with arrows at the end. Skipping over to example 3, graphing horizontal and vertical lines. Remember that horizontal lines go this way, left and right. It's flat. Vertical lines go up and down. Horizontal lines are y. Vertical lines are x. If I start with y is equal to negative 3, y is equal to negative 3 right here, and all along here, and all along here. Remember, I should be able to touch my pen anywhere on this line, and y is equal to negative 3. There's no x in this equation, so we really don't care what x is doing. We only care that y is equal to negative 3 each and every time. X is equal to 4. X is equal to 4 right here, and all this way, and all this way. As long as I can go along this whole line and x is 4 the whole time, then I know that that's the correct graph Again, there's no y in that one, so we really don't care what y is doing. We only care what x is doing. Y is equal to positive 2 right here, and all along here, and all along here. And one more color. Do this one. X is equal to 0. X is equal to 0 right here, and all this way, and all this way, right there on the y-axis. That's x is equal to 0. All right, this is where we will stop for today. Thanks for joining me. Have a great rest of your day.